Hello friends and welcome to my Breyerfest 2025 vlog. Breyerfest is essentially a big old horse girl convention held in Kentucky at the Lexington Horse Park. I travelled all the way from London in the UK to Kentucky in the States just for this event. It was a whole weekend of shopping for model horses, watching incredible equestrian performances, and getting to meet some iconic ponies. But the horse-filled fun extended past Breyerfest weekend when we took a tour of some racing stables and even rode a horse simulator. Subscribe if you love horses and buckle up because you're about to see Abigail Pinehaven's adventures at Breyerfest. Also, stick around for the price breakdown of how much everything cost us on this trip. Before we could leave on Wednesday, I had to say goodbye to my tiny little man Unit. He's actually pictured in my profile picture on all my social media. My sister was looking after him for the week we were away. Thank you, Crab Girl. Also, quick shout out to everyone who recognized me that I got the names of in Kentucky: Myla and Olivia, Anne, Riley, Vanna, Roxy, Emery Arnold, Brenna, Veronica, and Allison. There are a few people who I didn't manage to get the names of, so if you did meet me at Breyerfest, comment your name and where you met me. Off we trotted around 12 PM to drive to London Heathrow Airport. It was about a 2-hour drive, and I want you to notice how we're driving on the left-hand side of the road. Remember that for later. Here I am, waiting for my partner Lewis to park up the car. I'm traveling in my glasses and no makeup because I fully intend to sleep since the flight is 8 hours long and sleeping makes it feel like time travel. I have my blue passport ready to go, and there's Lewis. He's actually going to carry the suitcases. I'm in charge of my handbag and his carry-on. We parked quite far away from the terminal and we had to take the tube. Very British, I know. And look at my shoes! They're brand new for this trip, so shiny and clean. They don't stay that way. After picking up our boarding passes, we went through security and I've already started shopping. I forgot my sunglasses at home, so Lewis bought me these pink aviators, which are actually so cute. Also, does anyone else find the travel-size versions of items so adorable? Like, look at this deodorant. It's just for a tiny little man. Here is our plane. Lewis has made it a requirement to tell you about it. It's a Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner. Do we have any horse girls or guys who double as plane nerds too? We boarded our plane at around 10 to 4 and we both sat in business class. Ooh, fancy. It was like a little pod where you could recline so that you were lying down. It came with a pillow and a blanket, so I foresaw horseshoeing in my future. Because we both had standby tickets, Lewis and I sat separately, but it worked out quite well because he could talk out about the plane while looking out the window and I could watch TV and nap. We took off at 20 past 4. The takeoff was really pretty. Not that I could see it from my seat. Lewis got all of these cool window shots, so thank you. And shortly after, I was served peanuts and apple juice, which I devoured, and then a starter of bread and some sort of apple salad thing. It was a bit strange, not sure how to feel about it. The main course of stuffed chicken, mash and veg was pretty good, but I don't typically eat much on flights, so I didn't finish it. Also, look at my bag. It's from Breyer. It has a standing Frisian on it. How cute. It's also always so cold on flights, so I made sure to bring my Discord hoodie. You can join my server, link below. You got the cutest little... You got like a Jimmy Neutron quiff. And Lewis came to visit me for a little bit before I found the button to recline my seat all the way and got ready for a snooze. Luckily, the plane wasn't very loud and I used my earphones on noise cancelling, so I fell asleep pretty quickly. While I was asleep, the plane went whee all the way over the North Atlantic, over Canada and Ohio into Kentucky. Walking from the terminal, I saw my first horsey. Not really, it was just a wall decal, but it counts. We waited for what felt like forever to get our hire car. The line was so long and Lewis was a gentleman and let me sit down with the bags instead of standing the whole time. After 10 PM, mind you, our body clocks think it's like 3 in the morning, we finally got the hire car. We both fell in love with it during this trip. It was a silver Buick, which we kept calling a Buick. I haven't been in an SUV in a really long time and it's so comfy to be a passenger in. Then we hit the road, but oh wait, everyone in the US drives on the right-hand side. So we are tired in a completely unfamiliar place, driving in the dark on the opposite side of the road. And I was a nervous ball of passenger the whole way to the hotel. You make me nervous. Just two girls driving on the right-hand opposite side of the road.
I might have to prove.
Oh, Cincinnati, Lexington.
It feels like surreal, you know. I don't feel like I'm here. It feels like an outer
Don't dissociate while we're on the
I'm not dissociating,
interstate,
don't
please.
worry.
Despite all of that, we made it to the hotel room at 11:30, and it was a really lovely, spacious room with 2 queen beds and a kitchenette. So if we wanted to cook anything, we could. Also, the bath was really small. This bath is so small. It's a little bitty bath. We were staying at the Marriott in Georgetown, which was only 15 minutes away from the horse park, so it was going to be very convenient without the inflated prices. So on to Thursday! We both woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning, not by choice, but because our bodies were telling us it was 11 in the morning, and we never sleep that late. We couldn't go back to sleep, so decided to go to Walmart to check it out, because, you know, we're 2 British people in America, of course we're going to go to Walmart. Also, it was super humid and hot, and I thought the humidity was bad in the UK, but Kentucky was just something else. We got to the shops, and after marveling at massive rolls of meat, big bags of cheese, and jugs of orange juice, I made my way to the toy aisle where I saw mini brands for the first time. I love watching people unbox these on YouTube. I also saw Wildmane's toys, which aren't in the UK, so that was cool, plus a bunch of Barbies. Also, why do Walmart sell tires? That confuses me. That's where the dramatics start. I saw these cookies in the bakery section and they looked lush. Gorgeous pink or blue icing and a lovely pale beige biscuit. I was so excited to get some because surely something that looks so nice must taste at least decent, right? I hopped in the car and set up the camera for a true vlog review. Look at me holding up the cookies like a little influencer. And when I took a bite, my face gave me away immediately. These cookies were nasty. They didn't taste sugary at all. The texture was like carpet, and the more I chewed, the sadder I got. I took another bite just in case it would get better, but spoiler, it did not. I genuinely look like I'm going to cry. I've never been so disappointed by a cookie in my life. Who made them look that pretty but taste like that?
I wanted to like these so bad, but they're so terrible.
And now I was sad, but that's okay because we were going to drive to IHOP for breakfast. The road still scared me, but Lewis was getting the hang of driving on the motorway, or the interstate as they call it in America. IHOP for breakfast. I was excited, but full disclosure, I will be giving an honest review of everything, but that's not me trying to diss anything. If you like it, keep doing so. I guess that's a little bit of foreshadowing here. We ordered a strawberry and lemonade splasher. I was not a fan. It was just too sweet and artificial for my liking. I got the pancake combo, which came with birthday cake pancakes, 2 bits of bacon, a hash brown, and some scrambled eggs. Everything apart from the pancakes was alright, but the pancakes were just way too sweet for me. I should have gone with the regular ones, but once again, I got ahead of myself. After that, we went through our first ever ATM drive-through. I don't know how popular these are here, but every ATM I've been to, you have to walk up to. So that was kind of a cool experience. I was pulling out cash because while Breyerfest was cashless, the Clarion was not. But what exactly is the Clarion, you ask? Well, it's a hotel located in Lexington where hundreds of Breyerfest attendees stay in rooms and sell model horses out of it. It's like a big old flea market, but instead of being outside, you're walking around the hotel and wandering into people's rooms to peruse their stock, which is laid out on beds and shelves. I'll show you more about that later though. First, we went back to the hotel room to sit in the aircon and nap for a little bit because we were already tired, and after waking up, I had some complaints about getting into a very hot car. It's so hot. There's me being like, let's go to Spain. Let's go live in Spain. Getting into a car that was sat in the sun this whole time. It's hot. It's hot. We're going to Buffalo Wild Wings though. Yay. Okay, so Buffalo Wild Wings. The food was good. The vibe was not. There were like 16 screens showing different sports streams, and on top of that, they were playing music, so it was a lot. And there were a bunch of middle-aged men sat at the bar drinking at 2 p.m. And to top it all off, I was the only woman in there apart from the servers, so I was a little bit uncomfortable, but it doesn't matter. Lewis enjoyed his burger, I ate some wedges, carrot sticks and celery, and we made our way to the Clarion. This was our first ever time here, and it was awesome. Something I did that I can recommend that you do if you do want to shop at the Clarion is make a big list of all the horses that you want to get, also known as an ISO list or in search of. I went ahead and pre-purchased most of the horses that I wanted and then picked them up at the Clarion. This helped me avoid panic buying and experiencing FOMO when I saw a horse that I was looking for. Instead, I had secured most of what I wanted at a decent price, and anything else was just a bonus. I will show you a big old haul later on if you want to see all of the ponies that I got. My first spur of the moment purchase though was a miniature hobby horse from Midwest Hobby Horse. They had some really gorgeous full-sized ones, but the minis were to die for. I don't know why I didn't get the Spirit or Rain. I ended up getting the Chestnut, who sat so cute in my bag. Which one would you have gotten? Tell me in the comments. I was eyeing up these donkeys though. They were on the Brighty mold, first introduced in 1982, but the one I was really interested in was Peanutine, but his prices were really high. Oop, there's Peanutine again, this time for $275, so it is a better deal. This is why it's so important to shop around first, because you might find what you're looking for in a better condition or for a better price in somebody else's room. We visited loads of rooms, including one that sold horse soap, which was normal soap but had a little Breyer mini Winnie inside of it. How cute. Now, I really want to shout out everyone who recognized me at the Clarion, but I literally have only been approached in person like one other time, so I was so bamboozled that I barely knew what to say, and I didn't even remember to ask your names. I'm so sorry, but you were absolutely lovely. A few girls took a picture with me, and that's never happened before, so thank you. Feel free to comment your name and where you said hi to me. The Breyer birthday bash was also happening at the Clarion on Thursday, so we made sure to stay for that. I grabbed a giant pretzel before going in, and it was so bad. Holy moly, the cheese tasted like plastic. The salt didn't even taste like salt. Not good. The birthday bash was interesting. It was running a surprise raffle for the model horse Glitter Bomb. There were only 20 made, so it would most likely sell for over $4,000 on the second-hand market. Lewis and I stood in line for about 40 minutes to get the raffle tickets, and while we were in line, two girls ran up to me and said they loved my videos and gave me a bracelet each. I felt so lucky. Thank you both so much. Again, I didn't get your names. I'm so sorry, but they are such lovely bracelets. After we got our raffle tickets, we were pretty tired, so we didn't really partake in any of the other activities going on. It was mostly dancing, taking photos, and playing bingo. We chatted with a girl whose name has completely slipped my mind. I want to say Suzanne, but they were great and gave us loads of tips and tricks for Breyerfest that would officially start at the horse park tomorrow. Unfortunately, we did not win Glitter Bomb, but I'm glad we entered, and that was the end of Thursday, so on to Friday, we were up once again before 7 a.m, so opted to have some hotel breakfast. It was mid, not bad, but not great. Then we set off for Breyerfest, woohoo! This was day one, and it would end on Sunday afternoon, so we would have a very packed weekend. I had some custom shirts made with my logo and handle, and they said content creator on the back, which I thought was so cool. I also had a smidge of sunscreen on my forehead because, you know, as a translucent British person, I was slathering Factor 50 all over myself. As we pulled into the horse park, there was a polo team getting ready on the Man of War field, and now I don't think I've ever actually seen a polo team in person before. Luckily, we were directed to a parking spot under a tree so we wouldn't melt because it was like 37 degrees Celsius. Oh my god. And unfortunately, we discovered that the line literally wrapped around the car park. I'm not kidding. The entrance to get in was here, and the line went all the way along to about here, and more people were showing up too. It wasn't all bad though, because I got to meet Mila and Olivia, who recognized me, and we were chatting in line the whole time, which was a lot of fun. Finally, we got into the park, and both Lewis and I were immediately attacked by massive beetles, which was great.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
We wandered into the celebration park, where I spotted this Esme on a poster. How cool is that? And some people partaking in a hobby horse competition. I have never seen hobby horsing in person. I don't care what anyone else thinks. It's the coolest sport, and you cannot change my mind. There was a petting zoo, live music, and across the park we could see a saddlebred competition taking place. I snacked on some Chick-fil-A from one of the food trucks, and it was pretty decent. Also, I got a lemon slushie, which I desperately needed to cool off. We made our way to the Collector Club tent, which had a big Huckleberry Bay statue outside. It's the same mold as my romance model, which I've shown on livestream a couple of times. Inside, we got to check out the future Collector, Vintage, Premiere, and Stablemate Club releases, but the lighting was not good since it was coming from behind the models, so I apologize for the glare. Basically, all of these and any Breyerfest horses I managed to pick up in the online second chance sale will be sold on pinehavenponies.co.uk. We do ship internationally, so feel free to follow the link in the description and have a peruse. Funnily enough, they did not have the most anticipated model on display, the new Premier Club Mule. We've already received emails asking when we're going to sell ours, and they should be in stock near the end of the year. Also, I wanted to check my makeup because I was sweating buckets, but I discovered I had violent hat head.
It's going. It's still.
Moving quickly on, in the hobby and craft tent, they had some really cool horses on show, ranging from diorama scenes to art on the actual models. Plus, they showed all the stages of making a model horse, which was an interesting insight. After that, I got to see the mounted police make their way to the covered arena. These guys were so cool. I had a browse through some of the shops. My favorite one to go in was modelhorsejumps.com. They custom made all their little prop pieces, and the best bit was this photo of the two owners sitting in a digger that is placed on top of their custom barns. I can only hope to be half as awesome as that. We caught a little bit of the performances. I think this is Team USA mounted games, but I could be wrong. Then we went through the VIP tent to pick up our models, which was a breeze. I'll talk more about the different tickets when I do the price breakdown. With our tickets, I made sure to select 2 surprise models, and at this point, I already knew it was the Totalist mold because I had seen it on social media. The first one I pulled was a matte blue roan, very cute, and the second one was the Decorator. They've not released the run numbers just yet, but the Decorator is usually highly sought after. Spoiler, I don't end up keeping him, so stay tuned for what I swap him for. We walked back to the car to drop off our models so we didn't have to lug them around the park, and as you can see, the heat is getting to me just a little bit. But next on the agenda was a presentation at the visitor center, which thank goodness is air-conned, and this is where I met Riley's sister. She took a photo with me to send to Riley because she knew me from my videos, so that was so cool. I also saw the live auction models. If you don't collect Breyers, then you won't have a clue how much some of these horses go for. Take this Western horse, for example. How much do you think someone bought it for? Write your answer in the comments. Your second model to guess is this Akeltique. Okay, last one, this rearing horse, also known as Albaroso. Make sure to post your comment, no cheating. Okay, so the correct answers were, the first one, the Western horse, went for $7,500. The second one, the Akeltique, went for $11,000. And the third one, hold your horses here, is $37,500. Be honest, did you get close? Then we watched a presentation on Sergeant Reckless. He was a Korean horse who was bought by the American Marines during the Korean War. This little horse has an incredible story with some sad elements, so I'd highly recommend reading up on her. We did a little bit of walking around the park and found this kids barn. If you come to Breyerfest with your family or children, I would highly recommend this barn. They had some neat interactive elements and learning opportunities for budding horse people. Next up was the mounted police barn. These guys were absolutely awesome. I'm pretty sure all the horses here was some sort of Draft or Draft Cross, I got to pet Mackenzie, who is a Clydesdale/Dales pony ridden by Officer Gia. We made our way back over to the event stables where I got to watch some ponies, and oh my god guys, do you see this mule? His name is Buckeye, he has been made into a Breyer, and his rider actually knew who I was. We didn't get to actually speak, but they messaged me on Facebook after Breyerfest because later on after this clip, I went up to them and asked if I could pet Buckeye. That's my claim for fame today. Shout out to you, Allison. After spending a decent bit of time at the stables visiting all the horses, donkeys, and mules, I wanted to do a little bit of shopping in the covered arena. There were a few vendors selling warehouse find Breyers, and there were a few that I liked, specifically the Clydesdale mare because I collect that mold, and I finally found Tristan, the Shire Type A that I had been looking for forever, but I just wasn't sold on these prices. So after some back and forth with Lewis, I decided to leave them and see if I could find a better deal at the Clarion. There were some really cool vendors selling handmade harnesses for models of all shapes and sizes. These guys were Culp Model Horse Store, and I've never really bought any tack or props, but I did genuinely consider it because of how good it all looked. Lewis was a sweetie and bought me some horse-themed coasters because of course he did, and I loved them. I was looking for some postcards to send to my mum back home, but as pretty as these were, they were regular cards and I wasn't sure how they would hold up in the postal system. We did a bit more browsing, but nothing really caught my eye, and after catching a little bit of the performances in the covered arena, we headed out of the park to make a beeline for the Clarion because I was addicted and desperately wanted to go back in. Also, this is me getting my left and rights confused.
You said go left around the roundabout.
Yeah, we have to go left around roundabouts here.
No, we go right.
No.
I'm confused. You keep saying that, and it's
I'm not saying
getting me
which way we're
confused.
coming off. I'm saying which direction we have to spin. We have to go left around the roundabout.
Oh, okay. Oh, ponies.
Wow, I'm very easily distracted. Anyway, we didn't have much time at all because tonight was the Stone Horses dinner. Stone Horses by Volo Artem is a different model horse brand, but all of their stuff is made and produced in the US versus Breyer, which is produced in China. They also tend to make smaller numbers of designs, so prices for the 1/9 scale horses is usually above $200 as a standard. We managed to pop into the Clarion where I met Emery Arnold, who recognized me, and we chatted for a little bit. I ended up in the fire dance studio room, and I could see from the door there were these long horses, which cracked both Lewis and I up. They're an incredibly talented artist who also has a sense of humor. I love browsing their room, and they had some delectable pieces for sale too. Right before we had to run back to the hotel to get changed, I picked up this horse crazy set, and I was just after the Standing Bay Frisian. I also grabbed a couple other horses, but you'll see them later in the haul. Lewis and I rushed to get ready. Here I am, all done up with my hair roller in the car. There were so many times I forgot I had this in and just walked outside, but hey ho, it's fine. The Stone dinner was pretty cool. They had Hayden Crystal as entertainment. You might know her from the viral TikToks such as,
Are you serious? It's raining, chicken nugget!
So my horse Squidward is a beautiful, perfect angel, and every day at about 10:30 she likes to plop down for her morning nap, which is very cute, but unfortunately she does look dead during these naps sometimes, and it wakes the neighbors out. So we've come to call it carcass time.
We also got 2 raffle tickets, but we didn't end up winning anything. They had this cool thing where they ran a competition in different categories like literature, best customs, best finish work, etc. And then they made whatever one from each category into a stone horse that you could buy. All the horses were really beautiful. I had the chicken and it was okay. The food here hasn't really been agreeing with me at all, but Lewis said his spare ribs were good. As much as the event was cool, I sort of struggled to feel included a little bit since I don't collect stones, so I didn't know very much about them. And my Clarion itch was raging, so we left before dessert to do some late evening shopping. Tonight there was the Breyer swap meet going on, which contrary to its name is actually just people selling stuff in the hall. They also had all of this year's Breyerfest horses on display, so we could see all the surprise variations, and wouldn't you know, there was a glossy Sporkle. Oh no, my wallet is in trouble. There's also a matte one, which is pretty, but I'm a glossy girly all the way. We also have a ton of previous Breyerfest exclusives in stock on pinehavenponies.co.uk, so click the link in the description to check it out. Then we got to see all the finalists for the Breyer competitions. You had things like Best Customs, Fantasy, Performance, Glow Up, and Tack Making. The British theme one ended up winning the Tack Making, so I feel very represented. Before the night was over, I met one more celebrity of the day, Floaty! His owner is Sue Sedecum, and he's pretty well known in the model horse community. Breyer has been around since the 1950s, and in the early days when they were just starting out, they made model horses out of all sorts of plastics, including ones that would warp over time. Plus, they didn't always include air holes that you see in the models today. Air holes allow the air inside the model to escape when the temperature changes, and Sue thinks it was a mix of all of these factors, plus potentially being in a house fire that caused Bloaty to, well, bloat up like this. Pretty neat, and he looks so goofy, so you can't not love him. That's the end of Friday, so on to Saturday! We managed to sleep in until 9 AM, where I wasted no time getting to work. I posted this on some Facebook groups, hoping to make trades, and spent some time scrolling through trade offers until finally, someone agreed to swap my decorator for a glossy sporkle. Talk about a score! And listen, I don't know how much the decorators will end up being worth. It could be more than the glossy Pinto, but the truth is, I wanted that one, and the likelihood that I could find someone in the UK to trade with that had the horse I wanted was pretty slim, so I was going to take all I could get. Off we popped for some early lunch and made the fatal mistake of choosing McDonald's. Now, Mackey's is far from healthy in the UK, but I do enjoy their chicken selects. After giggling to ourselves about various strange things on the menu, like just 3 strips of bacon, the McButter, and 40 nuggets, anyway, this is our haul. Not exactly the prettiest tray I've ever seen, and I have even better news. I hated the chicken strips. The batter was flat and oily, and the meat inside was borderline grey. Listen, I know this is fast food, but this is bad even by those standards. Also, hang on, you guys get plastic straws? In the UK and most of the EU, we have to have paper straws. What the heck? Anyway, as you can see, it's 31 degrees Celsius, but feels like 36. Make that make sense. So off we trotted into the horse park again for day 2 of Breyerfest. There was also this massive American flag flying at Camping World, and it looked pretty epic in person. I feel like the video doesn't do the scale justice. We spent the majority of the day watching the performances in the indoor arena. This horse right here is called Fish with a PH, or Tight Lines is his show name, and he was this year's celebration horse. And as I mentioned before, everyone got a copy of his model with their ticket. There was a Frisian horse demonstration. This breed is absolutely spectacular to see in person. Such power and grace is incredible to witness. I also love seeing Danny, or Danasha's Northern Tempest. She was the 2021 celebration horse, and I actually have her at home. Lewis was mortified at the vaulting. The first thing he said to me was, "Why are they not wearing helmets?" And I had to explain helmets would get in the way of their gymnastics, and that vaulting is probably one of the safer equestrian sports due to how well trained the horses are. They only perform on good, even surfaces, and if they do fall off, they only really need to worry about avoiding the horse, not rocks or fences or other obstacles. They all look beautiful in their routine, and there were even a pair of 7-year-olds performing. Saturday is also where I met Juno Fox and her lovely family. Of course, I didn't film any of that, but we went to Texas Roadhouse for dinner together and they treated us to some steaks. Juno is a fantastic artist who gifted me my custom Sporkle Breyer from Adriga Sky Studios. If you like horsey art, you must follow her on Instagram, TikTok, and here on YouTube. Her links will be below. That evening, we watched the Celebration of Horses performance. I cannot recommend this show enough. While the covered arena is great to watch equines in action, this show is top notch in its story and production. It had the Wonder Dogs performing tricks, both on the ground and dogs on horseback too, incredible liberty expressions, and daring stunt riders showing off their flaming moves. I really wish I could show you the whole thing, but we'd be here for far too long, so you'll just have to take my word for it. This is the end of Saturday, so now on to Sunday! The last day of Breyerfest. There wasn't too much to do today, so we sat and watched a few Equus films in the visitor center. The best one I saw was Her Story, which talked about side saddle riding, the history of it, and how some women still take part in this difficult and somewhat precarious riding position. It was awesome to hear about the women that were told they couldn't ride, found a harder but more societally acceptable way to do it, and gave themselves the freedom and independence because of it. Huge respect to all of the women who do ride or have ridden in side saddle. I desperately wanted to see the movie on Spain's wild horses, but I wanted to get in the second chance line. Basically, at the end of the weekend, Breyer tries to unload as much product as possible to avoid having to pack it back up and transport it to the warehouse. So that's where the second chance sale comes in. A few women sat in line since 9 a.m, which was crazy, but dedicated, I'll give that to them. We stood in line for about an hour and a half before they started letting people in, and it took another 30 minutes to actually get into the tent. In here, you could pick up 2 models each, so I grabbed 2 surprises and Lewis got 2 of the YOLOs. We could have queued up to go again, but we wanted to go to the Museum of the Horse before it closed. Another must-see. Some really interesting history, dioramas of real horses, pieces of equipment, and my favorite exhibit was the Black Horseman of the Kentucky Turf, talking about the history of slavery and oppression in both the state and in horse racing. I didn't get much footage of this exhibit because I was too busy reading, but the Kentucky Tourism channel on YouTube has a really lovely short story video on it that I can't recommend enough. It was a little bit jarring that almost right after there was an exhibit on Umamusume, which is a Japanese horse racing game where the girls race like horses. So yeah, I don't really know how to feel about that one. They also had a skeleton of the racehorse called Lexington. He was a very famous horse in the 1850s. We didn't see Breyerfest close in the covered arena because it was mostly just announcing the raffle winners, and I didn't get any tickets this year. But on our way out, I found this very sweet bench in memory of Andrea M. Gurdon, who was the Breyer history diva. It read "Forever First in Line," which I thought was so sad but really heartwarming. To end the day, of course, I did some more Clarion shopping, where I picked up some more horses at great prices since everyone was starting to pack up and were giving discounts so they didn't have to take loads of stuff home, a bit like what Breyer was doing earlier. I also bought myself Cochab, who I've been looking for a while. We had dinner at Raising Cane's, which was surprisingly good. I still didn't love it, but I liked the Texas toast. As we were pulling into the hotel car park, a storm rolled over Georgetown, and since the Buick had a sunroof, we opened it and watched the rain and lightning pass overhead. It was really cool to see, and somehow it was still warm temperature-wise. We love a good storm. Breyerfest might be over now, but my adventure was not. On to Monday! First on the agenda was to go into Lexington to take the unique horse farms tour. This tour was amazing. I'll leave a link to them down below. Over the course of 3 hours, we visited 3 different racing barns, and at the first one, our tour guide Jeff gave us peppermints to feed the horses. We could just go up and pet them, and there were even tiny little babies that you could touch. Lewis genuinely said to me, "We should get a horse." He's been converted, guys. I did it. I could watch this footage for days. Oh, I'm so glad we got to interact with the horses up close, and the tour guide had so many interesting insights and personal stories. It was so good. If you're in Lexington, you need to take this tour. Since we were back in town, we popped into the Kentucky Horse Park again to pick up some souvenirs to bring home. My favorites were the postcards that I got. I was finally able to send my mum a postcard from the US. I got some stickers for myself, and this tiny little cube horse for my best friend Queasy. We also got chocolate covered Twinkies, and I'm sure at this point you already know I didn't like it. And here comes the handoff to boyfriend to finish it. And ooh, look, I've got a riding helmet. But why do I have a riding helmet, you ask? Well, I got to do one of the coolest things I think I've ever done, which is to ride a horse simulator. I won't go into much detail because it has its own video, which you can watch next, but finish this first. Hey, you come back here. Shout out to Ride Like You Ought. Their links will be below, and if you're in the area, you can try it out for yourself. They also sell a book, which I will have to pick up for myself at some point. After some mechanical horse riding, we went to the Cheesecake Factory, and thank goodness I liked the food here. I got the bacon cheeseburger, which was actually really good. I did not, however, like the cheesecake. So you win some, you lose some, I guess. That was the end of Monday, so on to Tuesday! We were on our way to Stepping Stone Ranch for a riding lesson. I was really keen on going to this place in particular because they said they did natural horsemanship, which I've never done before. Now, I want to preface this by saying they were great, very thorough with their teaching, and they get you to groom and tack up your own horse so that you can get to know them. However, being completely honest, I was a little disappointed because I've groomed and tacked up many horses in my life. I knew how to do that bit. I was wanting to learn more about the riding, and I just sort of ended up sitting on the horse since he didn't want to move, and I probably only spent maybe 20 minutes actually on a horse. Again, total respect for taking it really slow and making sure the beginner riders know the basics, but I was left a little unsatisfied with the lesson as I didn't really learn anything that I didn't already know how to do. I would have appreciated being asked my level of riding just so I could get a better taster for the horsemanship that I was really excited to partake in. But that's okay, everyone there was lovely. I probably should have just opted for a trail ride instead. Our final stop for today was the Aviation Museum. Lewis is a pilot and I had to give him a little something on this horsey crazy trip. He got to see an F-14 Tomcat, which was used in the movie Top Gun, and he geeked out about all of the planes and showered me with information that I most definitely remember. Since we had the rest of the day to ourselves, we just explored the area in the car, seeing some really cool rural parts of Kentucky. Tuesday is now over, so on to Wednesday! This was our final day. Our flight left at 10 p.m. So we woke up at around 7 a.m. and we had all of these ponies to pack. We weren't sure if everything was going to fit in the suitcase or if we'd have to mail some stuff back. But here, I'm going to give you a quick tour. By the way, if you see anything that you like, make sure to check pinehavenponies.co.uk in a few weeks because there is a chance we've managed to get some delivered to the UK from Breyer's Second Chance online sale. Okay, let's go. We've got the Bay Standing Frisian stablemates in the set that you saw earlier, 2 Fish Celebration models, 2 sets of the best of Breyerfest stablemates. Lewis got himself this Zulu and a big Lex for memories. I got a flocked G2 Morgan stablemate. I did manage to find a single of the Connoisseur Morgan, a Black Morgan, and look, I got Tristan. A set of Good Times and Great Friends, 2 Blue Roan surprises, a glossy 70th anniversary rearing stallion, this is a last minute purchase, a tiny little Bevan lying down stablemate foal, a little horse that looked like Nikita that I got from my best friend Queasy, spectacular bid who I've been looking for ages. His leg was a little bit bent and he had this blue stain on his offside, but that's okay, I don't show anyway. Tiger Lily, a 2024 Premier Club horse, no foal because I just wanted to collect the mare, glossy Good Times with no foal to go with Tiger Lily, Mariposa and Floor, who are on this vintage mold, but this mold is super popular and there aren't many horses made on this mold, so they're super duper expensive, but I got mine at a great price. The glossy Palomino Pinto, I told you guys I had to have her. Isn't she pretty? My mini hobby horse, a flock Clydesdale mare, I found this one for a great price, she just needs some love. Halcyonian Nightlife, a matte Palomino Pinto, not sure if I'm going to keep this one, we'll see. Standing Ovation, the Crystal Horse, a set of 30th anniversary stablemates. I only want this Bay Morgan and the mini brass hat, a set and a half of this Celebration stablemates, a glossy Palomino racking saddlebred, 2 Sabino Yolos that Lewis pulled, 2 VIP swag bags, and a Thoroughbred Champion. I actually missed out on a few. There's the old timer that I traded for, an older stablemate set, and this Mohead Classic Arabian. Here is a bit of a tour of what my shelves look like back at home. The reason I'm so particular about which models I pick up should be a little clearer now. I limit myself to 3 per mold, and I only collect a mold if I love it, not any that I just like. When I first started collecting, I would buy anything that I mildly like the look of, but now I make sure I'm more curated with my collection. If you could steal one horse off of my shelf, which would it be? Let me know in the comments. By 20 past 11, we'd managed to pack and ship most of the horses back to the UK, and after a quick stop at Walmart to pick up some American sweets for our friends and family back home, we had our final American meal of Kentucky Fried Chicken. In Kentucky. It was fine, I guess. Then we opted to take the long way around to Cincinnati Airport, coming off the interstate to do some countryside sightseeing. Before I knew it, I was back in my Discord hoodie, link below, heading back to the UK after my dream horsey holiday. But how much did it all cost, I hear you asking? Well, I have two lists for you. One is how much the holiday would cost regularly, and how much it actually cost us with various perks and whatnot. I'll be doing everything in pounds because I'm assuming if you're using this as a guideline, you're probably based in the UK, and it's obviously going to be way cheaper if you live in the States and can just drive in. So, flights. We traveled there and back in business class, which would have cost £2,169 per person, or if you were just to go in economy standard, it would be around £372 per person. We paid £200 per person for our tickets. This is because Lewis is a pilot, but there was a catch. We had standby tickets, which means we get whatever seats don't sell. If the flight was full, sold out, we wouldn't have gotten a seat and subsequently couldn't have traveled. Additionally, we only got business class because there were business class seats available, and if there weren't any, we would have gotten whichever seats were free. Next was the hotel. We stayed for 7 nights in the Marriott in Georgetown, which for the Studio 2 Queen room would have cost £122 a night, or £854 for the full stay. Lewis had Marriott points stocked up because he's been traveling and staying in hotels for work, so he paid the majority of this cost with those, and we only made up the rest with £122. Next was the Breyerfest tickets themselves. VIP cost around £185 per person, but you can get an all-access ticket for £75, or a general admission ticket for $25. VIP, however, guarantees you 2 special runs of your choice, 2 limited editions, and 1 celebration horse. The catch is, however, you must buy all models up front at the online checkout, meaning you have to have the funds to fork over. I got 2 VIP tickets, plus all of the models, for $1,081, which averaged out at around £400 per person. Car rental was £280 for the week. Food cost around $175 per person, but we were eating out every day, so if you were being frugal, you could definitely get this number down. Those are the basics of what it would cost you to fly to Kentucky, stay at a hotel, drive to the horse park, get in, and feed yourself. Of course, we did a lot of extra activities, so let's have a look at how much they cost. Equilocity dinner cost £60 per person, the unique horse farm tour cost about £38 per person, the horse simulator was around £60, the riding lesson at Stepping Stone Ranch cost £50 including gratuity, and the aviation museum cost £12 per person. Those are all the activities that we partook in that were not part of the Breyerfest tickets, and by adding them all up and timesing most of them by 2, it gives us a total of £330. Lewis did not partake in the simulator or the riding lesson. In total, Lewis and I, mostly me, probably spent around £700 on shopping. Obviously, that's a pretty high number, but this was my dream holiday, and I budgeted to go all out. Plus, we made so many savings on the flight and hotel, we had way more wiggle room than I thought we would. The cost of the entire holiday comes to £2,780 for myself and Lewis combined, so it's definitely not cheap, and if we do go again, there's certainly a few things I'd do differently, but all in all, I am over the moon with how my first Breyerfest turned out. To end on a sweet note, here is Unit cuddled up to me after we got back home.